Assessed teaching practice lessons on the CELTA course are graded either to standard or below or not to standard. Some centres have an above standard grade too. So what happens if your lesson is not graded to standard? I'm Joga Congo from elttraining.com, and I recently got a message from someone who said, "My lesson was graded not to standard. What does this mean?" So I thought I'd make a video to give you a few thoughts on this in case you're in the same situation. Most lessons pass. It's worth starting by stating that the vast majority of the lessons that trainees teach are graded to standard. And this isn't because it's easy to learn to teach, it's because, number one, in order to be accepted onto a CELTA course, there's a rigorous selection procedure, and a centre can only take on candidates that they think have a good chance of passing. Number two, you'll get help and support from your tutor with planning all of your lessons, especially at the beginning of the course, when you're still finding your feet. And number three, you'll have course book material available to use, and that'll give you a good starting point, even if you adapt it and make it your own, which you should. So, most lessons are to standard, but of course things can go pear-shaped. I've been a CELTA tutor for over 20 years and assessed a lot of courses in a lot of other centres too, so I've seen a few below standard lessons in my time, and I know that they can really shake your confidence. No one likes to feel that they've failed, and it's a rather public forum with your TP group all watching your lesson and participating in the feedback. For many people though, this disappointment is made worse because then you start to worry about failing the whole course. So trainees often ask, if I failed a lesson, can I still pass the course? Or how many lessons do you have to fail before you fail the whole course? Obviously, it's not great if your lesson's not to standard, but it certainly doesn't mean that you've automatically failed the course. There are no cut and dried answers to the question of how many lessons can I fail before I really fail. The first thing to remember is that you're not expected to get everything right from the beginning. The grade for each lesson is to standard for this stage of the course. This means that what's expected in your first lesson is very different from what your tutor is looking for in your final lesson. So if you have a lesson or two in the early part of the course that are not to standard, but then you pass the others, it's generally not a problem. But lessons nearer the end of the course, of course, carry more weight. But if you're in any danger of failing the whole course, you will definitely be told about it. There are carefully designed procedures that tutors have to follow to make sure that if you're struggling, you're told really clearly that this is the case and you're told what you need to do to pass. So don't worry that you might not know. You will. It's not nice to get a below standard lesson, but if you do, try to see it in a positive way. It's easy and completely natural to feel defensive, but it doesn't help you to move forward. So think about, what feedback did I get? Your tutor will give you detailed feedback on the areas that you struggled with, so read it carefully. What are those specific areas? How can you work on them? And if you're not sure, ask your tutor, they'll help you. The second thing is thinking about how can you plan better next time to avoid the difficulties that you had in that lesson. Good planning is the bedrock of good teaching, so spend time on it. Make sure you know what you're going to do. Think about the things that might be difficult and how you'll deal with them. Plan what you're going to say when you give instructions or explanations. That's often where people have trouble. And again, don't be afraid to ask your tutor. I hope that all your lessons are successful, but remember, we often learn more from the things that don't go according to plan. So pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. Learning to teach well isn't an overnight process, but it's an interesting journey. Good luck with it, and thanks for watching.